Well, hi there. Welcome to Bella's Vistas. We made this video over the past 4 or 5 days. It's comprised with photographs from our past 17 years or so. All of our Olympus experience, from the OM-1 currently to the E-1 way back in the day. This hawk that we found in a tree, now this is a city hawk. He's not afraid at all. When I'm out in the country, I see one of these guys, they see me from a mile away and they're gone. This guy knew that I was there, but he still posed for some pictures. I got out a tripod and set it up, and I even got beautiful light. The sun came out and lit him right up. Got some great shots. Here we're at 600 millimeters on the OM-1. Beautiful results, I think. An eagle flew by overhead. That's with the 600 millimeter equivalent. A friend of mine and I were out hiking in the park and we found this owl sleeping in a tree. Now this owl was there in the morning and he was there in the afternoon and he stayed there until evening as well. I went back a couple times, try and get some shots of him under different light. At one point he opened his eye a little bit, not quite yet, but it's coming up. I shot him at 600 millimeters, I shot him at 300 millimeters, different light, different exposures, different ISO. There his eye is starting to peep out. That's a 30th of a second at f8 and that's handheld. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Found this hawk in a tree. This is out in the country around Kitchener. Now we found some eagles. These eagles are backlit, they're off in the distance, lights from behind them, and I think still at 600 millimeters on the Olympus OM-1 we're getting a good result. Here this is at f11, the eagle flying by overhead. I got some shots of these eagles. I didn't get as many as I wanted. Now this owl flying is in tremendous distance away. There's heat waves in the air. We still got a pretty good result. This owl sitting up on a tree worked out very well for us. Got some video of him here in the wind. He's getting ready to take off. He'd be taking off any second now. Wait a minute. There he goes. There he is with the EM-1 Mark II, a 1600th of a second, 600 equivalent, and that's just sharp. That's just fine, I think. Quite happy with that. This is an enormous crop. This is with the OM-1. OM-1 with 600 millimeter equivalent. It's dark and wow. These hawks were up to something. I'm not really sure what, but they put a little show on for us and I got a few pictures. This is still with the OM-1, which I think is just a fine camera. Here's the osprey at sunset. It's with the OM-1. Flying overhead with 600 millimeter equivalent, sitting in a tree at 600 millimeter equivalent. I think it's a fabulous camera. I really like the 300 millimeter lens. I think it works just great. Here's an osprey coming in on the nest. I'm just shooting at 300 millimeters here because I wanted to get a little wider field of view. Got these peregrine falcon chicks at Hopewell Rocks in New Brunswick. My friend Jan took me out there. It was a great trip. Reminded me of this peregrine that I got in Ontario earlier. I waited about 40 minutes for this bird to take off. I was using Pro Capture. Same thing with this one here, Pro Capture. The bird's flying right into the lens. I think the OMD EM-1 Mark II was a great camera, not nearly as good as the OM-1, but that's what I had back then. Here's some eagles entertaining us here with their antics. I shot a little video of this eagle. I shot this video with the Olympus OMD EM-1 Mark II with the 600 equivalent on there, the 300 millimeter with the 2x converter. Look at how, I think this is really, really sharp. That's 1000 ISO, 600 millimeter equivalent lens. I'm quite impressed with it. Really love this snowy owl with the moon. It's a composite image, but still. Now Now this owl just took off from the fence post, and I was fortunate enough to catch it flying in front of this hunter. Now I did not scare the owl, but anyway. This owl is sitting in the dirt. Beautiful picture of this owl, I think. Went to the Canadian Raptor Conservancy. These are captive tame birds, but they're really nice to see. You'll see more birds there in an afternoon than you'll see for the rest of your life, maybe. Here's a golden eagle. This eagle's swooping in over the water, his wingtips just touching the water, coming in for a landing. I mean, wow. The Olympus didn't let me down. I wish I had the OM-1 there. I really want to go back to the Raptor Conservancy with the OM-1. And I've learned so much too about pro capture, about bird tracking and things. Look at this eagle here. I'm so happy with that picture. Here he's just sitting on his perch looking around. They're wonderful birds. Love this owl. I really love this owl. Look at him blowing in the wind. So patient too. He's waiting to be fed, I think. Couple little baby owls. I really like these guys. I guess they're not babies, they're just tiny owls. Some sort of a hawk on the ground here. Wonderful bird. Getting ready to take off. Now this owl doesn't like to be left alone. As soon as his owner would get a little bit too far away, it would start squawking for him to come back. But look at the claws on this bird. I mean, wowee, they can really catch a hold of something. This is a Harris hawk flying in. Beautiful bird. So happy I got to see these birds. Owl flying in. Here he is again. I think the focusing was working really well. I was stopped down to f11 there. This is the 600mm lens with the 2x converter, and this is the 300mm by itself. The 300 is a bit sharper, just the tiniest bit sharper. Owl off in the distance on Amherst Island. This was quite a trip. It was freezing cold overnight there. I stayed there for a couple days, 3 days, maybe 2 nights. Got a lot of wonderful pictures there. I'm so happy with them. Really had to crop in to get these shots. These owls are tiny and they stay well away from you. I'm pretty happy with this. This is a huge crop with the 600mm. Here's a snowy owl. This is the second owl that I ever caught on camera, I suppose, a second snowy owl. Here he is on a snowbank. I have to crop these in a long way. Now this was on Vancouver Island. This was a long time ago. This was at the E-5. I shot a contingency shot. Then I got this shot here. Then I really slowed down. I went down to an 1/80th of a second to get that shot. Here's a great horned owl. This is a captive bird sitting on someone's arm. Here's an eagle in the rain on the E-5 with 300mm. Comox Beach in Vancouver Island. Comox Beach had some wonderful eagles. We're on Vancouver Island at Comox Beach. I came back there time after time to get some shots here. The E-5 is working just fine. I always use single autofocus to get those shots. Here's a couple of vultures up on a tree, 150 f2 lens. That was a really nice SHQ lens. Here's the E-5 for a hawk on a fence post. Worked out really well for me. I'm so happy with that picture. Look at this eagle. This is on Comox Beach again, Olympus E-5. E-5 with the juvenile eagles fighting in the air. This was a lucky find. I thought it was a decoy in the barn, but it turned out to be a great horned owl sitting in the barn looking out at us. Here's a couple hawks up in the air. This is with my E-1 with the 50-200. That's a long time ago, a 50-200 millimeter lens. It was pretty good, really. Again with the E-1, 1/25th of a second. My very first snowy owl, that's with the E5 at 300 millimeters. Love this little character. Thanks for visiting Bella's Vistas. Come on back again real soon.